This is the Rebel Author Podcast, where we talk about books, business, and occasionally bad words. Hello, Rebels, and welcome to episode 20 of The Black Herron. I can't believe we've hit 20. For the fact that we only do this monthly, it's incredible that we've hit this number of bonus episodes. No Joe this time, but I do hope you enjoy the good old gossip and chin wag with Rachel and I anyway.
Well, hello, Sasha Black.
Hello, darling.
You look fabulous. You? I love. Okay, so
thank you.
People listening, Sasha's got your hair on braids on the side, and then
it's just like twisted because it's not
tumbling
quite
down.
long enough to go up. It's
perfect.
This is like been to the gym, slightly sweaty, still esque chic, you know.
But you're still rocking the like punk aesthetic. So good job.
Trying. Yeah, I have though. So I don't know if you can see, but like under here I am, you can't even bloody tell anymore. I'm like, let me show you this side. I'm like shaved a little bit down here.
Oh, nice. Nice.
But it's been like 2 months since I had a haircut. I'm having one this weekend. Thank God. But so it doesn't really look like punky anymore, but it will.
It does. Absolutely. Absolutely. It does.
Anyway, how are you? No, you first.
Okay, I'm good. I'm good. I'm about to finish teaching for a while, as in like tomorrow is my last. This is the big finish for now, and the ultimate goal. I don't know if it's an ultimate goal. It is a plan right now to not teach again until January of next year. However, circumstances may dictate that I want to or that I need to. So I'm allowing that I don't know the future, but it's also just freaking me out. But
we really have to give ourselves the space to be able to make decisions and then change our mind.
Yes. Yes. And I am pretty good about that. I get ridiculously stubborn and I said I was going to do this, so I can't change my mind. But then I remember that I'm a grown ass woman running my own business, and no one knows what my business will look like in the future, including myself. But can I share with you something I'm writing about for my Patreon this month?
Nice.
It's a Seth Godin quote. And he's talking about, he was talking to Tim Ferriss recently, and he was talking about his old podcast, Akimbo. And he said, I did 5 years of Akimbo. It was in the top 1% of all podcasts. And then I just stopped. And I stopped not because I didn't love it. I did love it. I stopped because if I kept doing it, there's something else I wouldn't do instead. Excuse me.
Oh.
And creating a vacuum is required so that I will do the hard work of filling the vacuum. But if I just keep doing the thing, then there is no vacuum.
Oh my God.
I know.
That is uncomfortable.
It's terrible. And then Tim was kind of drilling him on this and said, well, what do you define as a vacuum? What are you doing in that vacuum time? Are you planning things? Do you have stuff waiting in the wings? And then Seth, like a jerk, says, if there's something pending, it isn't a vacuum. And I love that. So that's just making me feel even more comfortable in this discomfort of moving forward, that I literally don't know exactly how I'm going to fill this time. All I know is that I have way too many projects to fill the time, and I don't know what's going to happen to any of them or how any of them are going to work. But hearing that just reminded me that everything I've ever done that was big and scary and good created a vacuum I didn't understand. And then something absolutely unexpected filled it, up to and including the time I cleaned off the front porch, which was like our dumping ground. We didn't have a garage in our old house. We just had this front porch where we would throw half open Amazon boxes and things that needed to go to the charity shop. And it was just always full of junk. And I cleaned it out one time. And a week later, I found a dog who had puppies that were then raised on that front porch because it couldn't come in the house. Like, I had cleaned it off just to be a beautiful space. And you never know. I always think about those puppies. And I remember thinking at one point when those puppies were growing up that, like, we kept them till 12 weeks and then we adopted all of them and the mom out. But the porch was always full of family and friends because everybody wanted to come to the puppy house. Because who has puppies when, and I made a space. I created a vacuum that was then filled with something that I didn't expect. So I'm walking into this like, just where's my puppies? What kind of puppies am I gonna get?
I have two questions. Do you think that sometimes we find the strength to say no because inwardly we're craving that vacuum? That's
Yes.
the first question. And the second one is, what is scary about the vacuum? Because it is scary. It's terrifying. Like not what is scary. Why is it scary to us? Because like I sort of
What a good question.
covet that space and find it terrifying at the same time.
There's something in me, and I don't think that everybody has this. But I think that you probably have it. It may be a competition, take a drink kind of thing, but I crave being on a ride like the drop zone, where I don't like heights and I
Mm.
don't like being raised up, and I certainly hate being dropped and going into free fall, but I will always get in the line because I crave that fear in a way. And the vacuum is truly like I'm creating this, but also, like we just said at the top of the hour, I could go back and teach some more. I could create a new class. I could fill it in if I wanted to. And the scary part for me is refusing to make that plan. Just stepping forward like the fool on the tarot card, where he's just like with that beautiful smile on his face, stepping out into open air, expecting the Indiana Jones moment of the ramp catching his foot.
I love it. I feel like there is definitely a little bit of masochism in high
Yeah.
competition people.
Yeah.
And because we crave discomfort or being uncomfortable in a way
Mhm.
that other people do not.
Yep.
So much so that it can become a self-sabotaging tool as well. So like I was talking to both my coach and my therapist about self-sabotaging behaviors and like the behaviors that I have around like money and the fact that I know that I need to keep doing the thing that I'm doing to continue to earn money, and I've been like edging away from writing. So like I haven't written a book this year. I
Oh
know.
my God. And it
Yeah.
is, it
Yeah.
is March. I can't believe you
Yeah.
have not written six
I
books
know. Well,
already.
in my defense, I've edited a
I'm
book,
teasing
I
you.
launched a book, and I
I
did a
am
Kickstarter.
teasing
But
you.
but it's not the point. The point
Yeah.
is I've probably had 2 weeks where I could have outlined and have allowed admin to get in the way. And lucky for me, my coach doesn't allow me to slip for more than a week or so before she starts cracking the whip, which is great. This is why I adore her. And so I did start outlining on Friday. And actually, I outlined to the point of like brain melting. I'm not done, but I
Ooh.
was like, oh no, okay, intellection just needs a hot second. So I think when I come back to it tomorrow, I will probably be able to mash the rest of it. You know when you get like the stomach adrenaline excitement because things start locking together and you're like, oh my God, how was part of me so fucking excellent to like seed in this one thing that I had no fucking idea was going to be so amazing, and
But
actually it all connects
it's
together.
the one crucial thing that you
It's
needed
the
that you
one
forgot
thing.
about. And then when you go look back in the outline and there it is. Not like I have an
I
outline, but I
know.
do it in the draft. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, that's where I got to on Friday. And I literally, my brain, oh my God, oh my God. And I did the thing that Joe said, which actually I should tell her about this, but I uploaded my book one into Claude. Oh my God.
And explain to people who don't know what that is, why
Okay.
you were doing
Well,
that.
I don't know. Just go and listen to Joe is what you should do. The Claude is like the new modelly thingy on Opus. I don't know. I subscribed on
It's a large
Anthropic,
language
which
model
there we go.
AI
Thank
that's
you.
built on Anthropic, built by
Yes.
Anthropic, and it
Yes.
is the most creative AI that
Yeah.
I
It's
have used,
like
and I love it.
GPT.
Yeah, it's just
And
better. Yeah.
yeah, and now listen, I can't outline with it. I don't write with it. What I do is just like talk to it a bit. I'm a bit shit still with all of the prompts and stuff, but I'm really trying. And so what I asked it to do, because I don't like rereading this, I was like, what do I hate doing? What is stopping me from outlining? What was stopping me was that I couldn't fucking remember my book.
Oh my God, you used it to outline an older
No,
book?
no, 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 no. So
No,
what I did,
because that
I
would be
said,
genius.
it sort of went this way. I was like, here's my book. There's lots of very naughty scenes in it. Please feel free to ignore them. We don't need to talk about them. This is just for your information. And it played ball. I was so happy. And then I was like, I want you to tell me all of the plot threads, subplot threads, character arcs, and any other world building elements that must be continued in book 2 and 3.
Holy crap.
Told me all of them. And like, when you're holding all of these tracks in your brain and you're like, oh my God, these are all of the things that I knew but couldn't quite pull forward. And I was like, yes, I need to do that one. Yes, I need to. It was literally like, I just, that face. Okay, so for listeners, Rachel's jaw is on the floor, and that face was my face when I looked at it. So I got it to do that and tell me all of the threads. And then Jo, in one of her presentations, I forget which, talked about asking it to tell you the cool things or like the fun stuff in your book or like the exciting elements or whatever. So I got a list of those as well. And then I just like printed that list and off I bloody went. And that was enough. I just needed it to tell me what I'd already written, basically.
Well, and the beautiful, beautiful thing about this is that all AI still can, and probably always will, they can hallucinate and they can give you answers that are wrong, that don't exist. They can make stuff up. Yeah. And if you call them on it, they're like, oh, sorry about that. This is what I meant. But they can't do that with our own books. When they tell you something, you will be able to say, oh yeah, that is what I missed. I wonder what would it do for like a late stage edit too? If you were to do something like put it in and say, have I dropped any threads? Are there any subplots that could be made stronger? I'm never going to trust an AI for an actual developmental edit, but before you go to developmental edit, could it? I wonder if it could.
This new model is extremely clever.
Yeah.
And the fact that I obviously I have written book 1, therefore I would know if what it was saying was wrong or not.
Exactly.
And it wasn't wrong because I just needed the prompt to remember, oh, yes, I did that. Oh, yes, I need to include that thread. Oh, yeah. And then, I asked some more questions and actually I didn't like anything that it was saying. So I just got off at that point and was like, yeah, no, we're done now. I just needed the list. But yeah, if it's working with actual material, I think it is a lot better because it has almost like humans, right? We need restrictions in order to be creative.
Exactly.
And it's almost like GPT, Claude, sorry, it's the same thing. The more restrictions you give it, the more creative it becomes.
And I would say that as we're talking, this might be a more advanced dance move. Like I would not put in my first novel after I've revised it for a while to see what it tells me to do, because I wouldn't know if it was right. But when a good developmental editor says, like, why did she do that there? That's against her entire persona and is not adding to her character arc. You go, oh, yeah, of course, that you're right. So you have to kind of maybe have a little bit of experience with developmental editing before you start, fucking around with that. But that is so cool.
Yeah.
So then you started outlining.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And then I started outlining. And I did loads. But
that for you is writing. That is writing.
Yeah. So I work in Plotter now. I never used to do that. I used to do everything on Post-its. And sometimes I still have to go back to the Post-its, but I'm trying to work more in Plotter because I can take it everywhere with me. Whereas I can't really do that with 700 Post-its on the wall.
What else do you like about Plotter? Because I've never used it.
Well, it's like digital Post-its. Also, you can have so I use plots for authors, which are like trope outlines. So you know how you have story structure beats, that you just have trope beats, basically. Yep. So I input all of those. And so I make those a particular color on a particular line. And then I match my story to the trope beats.
Smart.
So I know that my pacing is on point.
Yeah.
And then you can add images in, you can link it to like character information. So it becomes like my story Bible in air quotes, as well as like and then also you can have book 1, book 2, book 3. You can have them in different files within the same project, or you can have them on the same timeline, which I like. So you can see quite a lot. Oh, and then if you've got like different points of view, I just change the colors. So I've got everybody's story on the same visual. Look at me. I'm so visual. I'm like, I have to see it in my face. So you can have everybody's like face. Everybody's What is the thing?
Arc. Character arc?
Yeah,
What?
whatever. They're
Image.
chapters. They're
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
chapters. Yeah, you could have the outline of their chapter all in the same space,
Their
basically.
point of
It's
view.
brilliant.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you can just drag it and move it around if it's in the wrong place. You can just drag it, move it, drop them under each other, over each other. It's crazy. I love
Oh,
it.
see, and something you just said just made me realize again for probably the 400th time why I don't use products like that is that I'm not visual. I don't have aphantasia. I've
Ah,
learned that I have something called hypophantasia, which is almost like aphantasia, but it just means that I barely have a mind's eye. I do not have a mind's eye. If you tell me to conjure an apple in my mind, I see like a sixth grade rendering of an apple in black and white. If I try really hard, I could see red for a second. But my wife,
so
who's
when
an
I had
artist,
that,
can see it like it's
yeah,
real. And I
yeah,
didn't even know
that's
that people could do that.
oh my God. So I had no idea that my wife is like you.
Oh,
Um, barely sees anything in color in her mind.
yeah.
Could maybe force herself to see a red apple, but like really
Something
it does
very
just
simple.
doesn't. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, yeah. Whereas I'm like full scale, like Hollywood 4DX movie, basically all the sensory everything. It's crazy. Yeah. And this is why I love Midjourney as well. Because
Ah,
actually if I ever get
mm.
stuck, sometimes I'll just go, make me an image of this, and then I can write the scene. So it's weird how we prompt. I know. I could write a story on it based on image prompts alone.
And I could write a story based on image prompts alone, based in text, which is why I love those like writer thesauruses that say what is in the hardware, and it lists all the things in the hardware, and it lists this all of you'll find
Oh,
keys, you'll
see, I
find like
hate those.
all words. Do you know that I have something called teletype synesthesia, which is, and I've had it ever since I could read from the age of 3, that when I heard a word, I can see that. I see words always. It's always running like either underneath or over, sometimes right over whatever's happening. I can see the words scrolling by, which is why I'm one of those people who will stop when they meet somebody. They say their name and I say, please spell it for me because I can't go back and forth. Like Aaron, is it Aaron? Is it Eron? I need to know so I get so it can fill in correctly. So I see that.
That's crazy. Oh my
Brains are
goodness me.
weird, aren't
Are
they?
they? They're amazing. This is why I studied psychology because humans are fascinating. I have no understanding of humans whatsoever, but they are fascinating. So much so, my therapist has asked if I'm autistic. So there's that.
I mean, you could always
Yeah.
do the testing.
Yeah, I know. I don't
Uh,
know. I don't know. I don't know. But when I told Chloe, she was like, no. And I was like, okay. Who knows?
Someone I love very close to me who I will not out because it's not my thing, but has recently found out that they're autistic. And it's been fascinating to watch this journey of, oh my God, everything makes sense here. And I will just say, I have no idea whether you're autistic or not. And I don't actually care. But I will point out that a therapist wondering it might be something to check out. It's not like the guy at the dry cleaner. You know,
I know. I know.
there is a simple online test. There are simple online tests that are, they're a good starting point. And when I test for ADHD, I test on those ones, the sample test. I test off the charts, just like I do in the psychiatrist's office, just beyond, absolutely beyond. And when I test for autistic, because I have a couple of weird things that I do that I was wondering about, I test completely normal. And then normal is a not good word. I test typical. And this person tests off the charts every time she does it. So it's interesting. I don't know.
Oh, you'll have to send me the link and
I will. I'll send you the link to
yeah,
the
send me the
to one
link.
of the good ones. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. I want to go back to
Um,
something you said about your coach. And I would
oh,
like to point out, I may have said this before, but another person was talking to me about our coach, Ellie. And they said, well, I think I might need some tough love. And I'm like, well, Ellie gives tough love to Sasha, but I have a different Ellie.
yeah,
And
you do.
Ellie, for me, is like sitting next to me and braiding my hair and saying, oh, you're so, why don't you take, it's okay to be nice to yourself.
Yeah,
Stop beating yourself
yeah,
up.
Yeah, I've got a friend. I've got several friends that use Ellie for obvious reasons, and she literally coaches everybody in a different way, and it blows my fucking mind. Like she's
How?
so tough on me, so tough. And like I have read, I probably shouldn't have, but I have read some of the emails that she sent to like some of my friends, and I'm like,
Who is this?
who is this woman? Because it ain't my coach. It's hilariously funny. But this, I think that's what makes her so exceptionally good, is that she can differentiate to, like, I was talking to somebody else at London Book Fair who's using her, and I was explaining how she told me to do this, this, and this. And this person was like, oh, she doesn't tell me to do anything. And I was like, yes, I know, because if anybody tells you to do something, you say no. and and we had a little bit of a laugh together because it's very true. But also she was like, oh yeah, because that would make her a good coach. She coaches you the way that you need. But yes,
Yeah.
yeah, basically my cat's now making a noise in the background. Sorry if you can hear it.
I apologize for the bone chewing noise. I kept hitting mute to try to put the dog is under the desk. I feel like today is just going to be a day where we just
Bounce,
wild out because
yeah.
I can't keep a thought in my head.
I have so
want
much going on.
I want to know, well, I want to know all about the stuff going on, but I also want to know about Venice. You haven't
Oh
told
my
me how
goodness
the city
me.
of
Has
my
it been
heart
that long?
treated. Yes, because I think you were going maybe the next day or something.
Oh,
Um,
yes.
it was really
Okay,
close
so
after that.
Venice was incredible, incredible.
Did
So
she not
I
let you
am,
down? She.
she was, she was amazing. Um, so Venice, oh, now my cat's going to want to go out. Venice was amazing. I harbor a bit of, I'm going to keep talking whilst I let the cat out. I harbor a bit of a fear of, go on, out you go, boats, or more specifically, I don't particularly like getting on and off boats.
Yeah, and there's a
And
fuck ton of that in Venice.
like
That's just
literally
what
we
you
got off the
do.
plane. Yeah, you got off the plane and you had to get on a boat. But thankfully, I've got to be a bit quieter. My son had such a shit fit about getting on the boat that actually I didn't have time to remember that I was afraid of boats. So I just got on. And then when I was on the boat, I was like, oh, and Chloe could just see like the color draining from my face. So she just fed me mint Tic Tacs.
That's very
And
smart.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was smart and it was fine. And then
Because that's the
on the
most
way to
epic part of the
Venice,
boats. When you're in Venice, the boats are a lot less intense,
yeah.
but going to Venice from the airport, yeah.
Yeah. And then on the way, I just had this moment of pure unadulterated gratitude. And I just like I could feel myself starting to well up. And Chloe was like, are you proud? And I was like, yes. Like this was the moment that I felt proud because
Oh, I got
it was my
goosebumps. What a great
yeah.
question to ask you.
I know, right? Like, and she knew, well, she knows me so unbelievably well. And she knew that I was realizing or recognizing that it was my books that had taken us to this place.
Yes.
And so yeah, I sort of let out a couple of tears. All my patrons are going to be like, because I don't do emotion. And yeah, and then and it was just the most beautiful place. It only rained heavily one day.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, Nico's ice cream was closed. But everything else that you told us, pretty much we did. So we went to Burano, and Murano. Burano is the reason my office is this bright pink, although it looks sort of more dark in
Oh,
here now. But my office is this really bright pinky lilac color because I fell in love. I stepped onto the island of Burano, and all of these houses look like Lego pieces because they're all different bright colors. And I just looked around and I was like, oh, my office needs to change.
do you
And
know?
that was that.
I love that you changed your office for this. And do you know why they painted their houses those colors?
Well, so there's a myth around it, isn't there? And then
I think there's a
it's all about the noble houses and stuff and what their
no.
jobs are or
It's
something.
better. No, it's better.
Okay.
It's I think there's some mythology about it, but the actual prosaic workaday reason is so that fishermen far out to sea could see what their house was, could look home
Oh.
and see like we'll go there tonight. We'll be there tonight. Right now we're getting fish, but like that's where my heart is. Oh, and you painted
Oh.
your oh,
I did. And I paint and like I just literally so I've got this rug here as well, which is, I don't know if you
Oh,
can see
yeah,
it.
yeah,
Hang on.
yeah. It's
It's the
gorgeous.
Mona Lisa. No, hang on. It's the Mona Lisa, but like punk. And
Oh,
then
oh yeah,
on
with
the
her
other
mohawk.
yeah. And then on the other side, I got a custom quote, which was Veni, and I'm going to butcher it, but Veni Vidi Vici or Vici, which is I came, I saw, I conquered.
I was going to say, I came, I saw, I attacked. What is that?
No,
Right,
yeah, I came, I saw, I conquered. And I've got like artwork up on above the desk, like some stuff that people have sent me or I've had commissioned. And yeah, so it just, this feels like my office for the first
Ah,
time. And the
ah,
bookcase is black, which it wasn't before. It was
it's
purple.
absolutely beautiful. There's this book called
Joyful,
Joyful?
I've read it.
Joyful. You read it. It's fantastic. And it
Yeah.
really made me understand why we need to make the spaces we live in lift our hearts like that. So well done. Also, did you go see Kage Libri?
I did
The,
the book pooper,
the book
yeah. We
shitter?
did.
Can you please describe the book shitter?
He's pooping out a pile of books, and it's a statue.
He's
We
actually
also
not
went to
quite pooping, but
not
he's just a
quite, but
man standing there.
almost.
He wrote a lot of books and he's got a pile of books behind him right up to his coattails. And so in Venetian dialect, they've always said that's the book shitter because that's what he's doing. And that's what Sasha and I do. I always
Yeah,
go,
we
that's a great
do.
square to sit and have coffee and write in.
Yeah, it was I mean all of it's beautiful. We went to the bookstore as well with the unfortunately we didn't see any cats, so Atlas was very
Ah,
disappointed. But we went to that, we went on a gondola. That was the worst of all. Like that was the boat I didn't like too much because what I didn't realize is that they tip the gondola because so they're weighted and then when you go under the bridges, and of course me
I
being
should have
control
told you
freak.
not to do that. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
kind of, it's a waste of money. Yeah.
We did it and it was great. Like the views were fantastic, but also, oh my God, I was like this every 5 seconds. I guess we went under a bridge. So that, and for listeners, I was basically flinching and like leaning forward. And basically, I had a bit of a wobbly. Like so as he was stepping down onto like the wooden steps in the water, I basically there was this big post and I just clung to it. And I just went, no, no. And Chloe had to like coax me onto the gondola as I'm like, and of course at this time Atlas gave absolutely no shits because he was already like he jumped straight on because he was over it. So yeah, so that was the most tricky one for me. But yeah, apart from that, it was just magical. What a place. And it's so surreal not to have any cars anywhere
Yeah.
because there's no
And
cars.
And you get used to it immediately, don't you? There's not even any
Yeah,
bikes.
no, there's no
There's
bicycles,
only
there's no nothing.
trolleys and wheelchairs, but wheelchairs with 117 islands, which are mostly stairs. It's it's one of the
Not,
least accessible places in the
yeah,
world.
really,
So,
really
yeah.
is. It reminded me a little bit of Dubrovnik, old town
Mm.
city, like that those kind of narrow walkways, and sort of the dampness and on the cobbles. And the one thing that's really interesting is there's very little light. And so because the buildings are so tall, it's there's very little light down at the bottom. The only other thing coming from Britain that I really struggled with by day 4, I said to Chloe, God, I just want to see a tree.
Yeah. Yeah. You have to know where the gardens are, the giardini.
Yeah,
And if you do, then you
yeah.
can go sit in the trees. And I usually have to do that at least once. And there are some private giardini. Like if you are immensely wealthy and you have one of the old cars, like in the middle, you can have your trees growing. And you can kind of sometimes see them from back alleys and peek in.
Oh,
And yeah. Oh,
yeah.
I'm so glad you went. I'm
Oh,
so
it was
gonna just
amazing. It was
makes my heart
amazing.
happy to hear that. Okay,
And
thank you.
so many ideas for my next series as well. So many.
Really?
Oh my,
So
but
you know
that's
that
what,
that is a write-off. It's literally like the portion
oh
of
yeah.
the plane and everything, all of that.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Because I literally like sat there planning because I came up with so many ideas. Actually, I didn't. I wrote down all of the ideas and things that came to mind, and then I'll plan later. But yeah, I'm
Oh.
definitely using all the ideas.
And you brought yourself there. I have had the exact same experience in Venice, the very first time I ever led a retreat there, which was this not only did book writing get me here, but I'm using book writing to get me back. kind of thing
Isn't it
to this
amazing?
city.
Like
Yeah.
when you reach that point, like even like the first time you buy yourself a coffee that your book's
Oh
paid for,
my God.
see now I'm getting goosebumps. Like
There,
that moment when you first realize that actually your creativity can earn you money is
yeah.
just unreal.
I had always wanted beyond reason. So I think first went to Europe in 94. So Lord have mercy, 30 years ago. That's how old I am. Um, and I saw smart cars and I just thought they were the funniest little things I had ever seen. And I wanted a smart car ever since then. And it took another 15 years for them to come to the States. And then I would see them everywhere. And every time I saw one, I would just fall more and more in love. And there's this one day when I was driving past a used car bank called the Buggy Bank in Berkeley, and they had a convertible smart car. And I had just gotten a pretty big, like for me, it was an $11,000 payment from Australia, from an Australian sale that I had, or maybe it was royalties. I can't remember. It was amazing. And we were paying off all of our debt. But I drove by and I called Lala. I said, there's a smart car. And she goes, why don't you get it? Because she doesn't know anything about our finances. But I said, I can't. But then I drove away that day with it. I paid it off within 6 months. And I bought it because of the money that writing had earned me. And I like that we talk about this kind of thing. And that car is still my pride and joy, even though I don't own it anymore. I sold it to a friend who then made it into a Mondrian car. She paints her cars like Mondrian art. And so it's still
Wow.
bebopping around San Francisco being a piece of art. And every
Oh,
time I
that
put
couldn't have
down the roof, every time I put down the roof, I was happy.
that couldn't be a better next like owner for you. Like for it to become that,
Yes.
right? That is the most
Yes.
wonderful ending to
Yes.
your relationship with the car. Like
Exactly.
that's amazing.
My little lesbian friends that I kind of grew up with and they're driving now and hasn't died. You know when you sell a car to somebody and then you worry it's immediately going to die? That's
Mm.
yeah. Yeah, you
Oh
look so
no, I
cute right now.
love
Your
it.
pillow, nobody can see this, but your pillow is
Oh
doing this
yeah. It's
behind your
it's
head. You got
like
little cat
magnetic.
ears. Oh, that's smarter. Mine is just like strapped on and now I broke the strap. But
This
tell
is
me
a
more
fancy
about
new
work.
chair. Oh my goodness me. So I am so grateful to be experiencing the growing pains of a growing business. This is a problem I choose to have.
I'm never caught up, but I feel like because I went to Off and on the Train last week and I had some time for podcasts and I did catch up on on a few things. You've had such success with the Shopify store that now you are dealing with Shopify
Oh my goodness
fulfillment
me. Yeah.
issues.
So
Again,
well, I've
diamonds on the soles of our shoes. We know.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. So my virtual assistant has now taken on the customer service. I created a new
Good.
account.
Good.
She's now handling the customer service. We've also had to do little things like adding on a shipping times page because that's quite often the most frequent question. It's also all of like the accounts and what you do with money and how much you need to reserve for tax. And, just as your business grows, you have to be a bit more responsible with the money and responsible with the things you're doing in your finance accounts, and how much proof you provide and things like this. So I'm just sort of going through those growing pains and I'm changing accountants. I'm now getting a bookkeeper because I can't really handle doing it by myself anymore.
Good.
And so things like that, but also really grown up shit like making a will and getting power of attorney and like,
Ooh.
yeah, which tough conversations, tough, everything's
Yeah.
tough. Adulting 1-star review. um, so yeah, like it's even little things like trying to work out, am I ready to put Chloe on the business? I don't know the answer to that question. I mean, I'm still trying to figure that out.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they are things you have to start thinking about that you've never had to think about because otherwise you can't always get access to your money or you pay a really big penalty for getting access to your money or, shit like this that you just don't have to deal with when you're not making anything, which was what I was for a very long time. Um, so there's that kind of side of things that's taking up time. I fulfilled the Kickstarter on Wednesday, so that's very exciting.
Congratulations. I saw that come through. Yes.
Yeah, oh my goodness me. So people on the audio can't
Those are
see, but
gorgeous.
the bookmarks arrived today, and I basically got foiled ones, which I wasn't going to do, but I couldn't help myself. So they match, and they're so pretty. So yeah, I'm all bar the extra spicy scenes, and the 6 annotated copies will be completed by Wednesday, which will be a huge burden, because it's been a lot of learning. This has been like more learning than I've done in a long time, and I'm exhausted. So there's that. And then yeah, and then just the growth, restructure, new systems, all that kind of stuff. Also figuring out what I want because you have more ability to choose
Hmm.
if you're
And
not if you're not stressing about survival.
yeah.
You can make different choices.
And my thing
um
with that is that there's so many things. I'm so multi-enthusiastic about so many projects. I have like, I'm gonna guess on off the top of my head, 5 projects that I'm in the middle of and super excited about. And that always slows me down. So I'm looking forward to this extra vacuum time where and I already have, but I've been picking and choosing and moving through. But that is difficult. I mean, it's a fantastic problem to have, but it's one that needs
isn't
to
it?
be acknowledged.
Yeah, and I think what's really nice is that I've got a lot of people who, because there are going to be people joining my podcast now who won't have been on that journey and will only see me now as a six-figure author. But what I love is the community of rebels who have been with me from the start and know how hard I found it and know
Yeah.
all of the ups and downs and the, I've been doing this for 10 fucking years. I've been
Yeah.
writing for 10 years.
Yeah.
Okay, I haven't been publishing for 10 years, but I've been writing for 10 years. And it's just, yeah, it's nice that there's lots of people. Hopefully I can inspire a few people to think, actually, okay, I just need to keep going for a few more years, and then,
Yep.
that's what I hope. Um,
I
but yeah,
love that. I
what
love
about
that.
work for you though?
Oh gosh, I was going to ask you so many things that I wasn't thinking about myself. One quick thing.
Oh, sorry.
And maybe, and I'm sure you will cover this on your podcast, and then I'll be a month or two behind to listen to it. But overall, for people who don't follow you on a day-to-day basis but love you, uh, how much did you end up closing Kickstarter at?
25,900 and something, 930 something, I think. I was about 70 odd quid off 26 grand.
To USD. Oh shit, I've got something funny to tell you. Um, I just had a heart attack. But United States, I'm putting that into USD, is almost 33,000.
Yeah, that's right.
33,000 USD. And
Yeah.
in New Zealand dollars, which it just defaulted to, and I had a heart attack, $55,000.
That's amazing.
55,000 New Zealand dollars. And do you have a ball? It's absolutely fine if you don't, but do you have a ballpark of what you have you will clear after all of the costs and expenses?
Yes, so I actually got transferred £23,087
Hmm.
because you pay, I think it's 3% to Kickstarter and about 1.5% to Stripe, 1.5
Yeah.
to 2% to Stripe. So you lose 5% from the outset, no matter
Yeah.
what. I lost, I think, 780 odd quid in dropped pledges. 2 people said they were going to go through PayPal. I don't think one of them will, and I think the other will, but we'll see. Um, and so, yeah, so I got transferred 23,087. There was a bit of a hoo-ha on shipping, so it's a fraction lower than I'd anticipated. So
That was a
I
hoo-ha with the
will,
distributor, right?
yeah, so
Yeah.
just a slight miscommunication. So actually next time I will be able to put the prices slightly lower. I had just misunderstood. Just that it got lost in like 7 emails. And so I had slightly misunderstood. But anyway, so I've come out with just a fraction more than I anticipated. And then so books, shipping, all of that is between 7 and 8 thousand.
Wow. That's
Yeah, and
great.
yeah, and then the costs for the rest of it were about 2,500 for artwork, all the boxes, the all of the goods, the printing, some of which I had to print twice because I fucked it up. And yeah, so about 10,000 10 about 10,000 for all the costs, and then probably about 2,000 in tax. So about 11,000 I think I'll clear in profit.
So you're making a little bit less than half in profit, and that is
Yeah.
enormous. There are so many Kickstarters that people do things wrong or badly or just don't think about it, where they either don't make anything or they make $42 or
Yeah.
they lose
Yeah.
a little bit or a
Which
lot.
isn't the funny thing about that 11,000 figure is 1 year, that's what I made in sales on Amazon. Isn't that weird how they connect like that?
They always connect.
Yeah.
Numbers always connect like
It's
that.
so weird. It's so weird. And I was just like, wow, what a strange connection. So yeah,
Oh, I'm so proud of you. Okay, thank you for that business stuff. And I know you're going to be breaking it down, and I will be eagerly
yeah.
listening to all of that.
I
So
can't believe I'm going to do the numbers episode.
I did hear you say you're going to do your numbers
I'm
episode,
going
and
to
I'm
do a
so
Rachel
excited to hear it
numbers episode.
because it is so incredible to have transparency in here. My numbers episode next year is going to be super interesting. And I was going to say something disparaging, like, and everybody's going to say, oh my Lord, how did you make that little? And then I just corrected myself to people are going to say, oh Lord, look what happened when you created that vacuum. Holy cow. What came into
Exactly.
it? Um,
Exactly.
so speaking about the vacuum, I'm scared to hit the Kickstarter go button. It's on pre-launch. Let's see how many people
Have you
have
shared the link?
signed up.
You have not shared the link.
I have not shared the link. I haven't sent an email. I haven't done anything. I've shared the link only on the podcast. Oh, I have 69 followers. Very nice. Very
Oh, my
nice.
favorite number.
So that is incredible to me that I have that many just from people turning around to type that into their web browser. Because one of my friends and listeners points out, Rachel, you never put anything in what is it called? The notes, the podcast
Show notes.
show notes. I can say liner notes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always forget to put that in. So that'll be going out soon. It's literally a logistical hiccup that I have not, with classes I have not had time to fix, but ConvertKit has just done me so dirty. And I need to move everybody over to Button Down, which I have chosen, which I really, really like. These are my email list providers. ConvertKit is doing this thing right now that if I send an email through ConvertKit, it locks me out of my Gmail and my Rachel@rachelherron.com URL, which is a business Google reroute thing. It locks me out for 24 hours. I cannot send or receive any email because it treats me like spam. And I have talked to ConvertKit a million times about this. And they're like, well, it must be on your end. You should pay for, actual professional Google hosting. And I'm like, I've never had this problem. I've been with you for 10 years, never had this problem. So I'm firing them, but moving everybody over has proven to be a problem. And I can't send a bloody email to anybody through ConvertKit or I will be locked out. So that is this week's mission, is to fix that, get everybody on Button Down, which is a lovely provider. And then
Do you have an
I will
assistant who
launch.
can create your autoresponders for you? Recreate them so that you
What do
don't have
you
to do
mean?
that. Do you have autoresponders?
No autoresponders go out when I'm locked out. I am a persona non grata. So if somebody
But do you have autoresponders?
Oh, yes. Oh, like the
So
sequence,
you
like
want
an
to
auto sequence.
yeah, a sequence, yeah.
Yes. Yeah,
So you could have an
I
assistant
do have an
recreate that for
assistant who
you.
can do that, my darling Ed, or I might just do it myself because I really want to revamp, especially the reader one. But that can go on the back burner. I can always that can be a few weeks later. That's not a problem. Just literally moving everybody and getting the tags right is the thing. But I should be able to do that probably tomorrow, and then I will go live. I think that I'm going to do either 15 or 21 days. Please tell me which one to do. 21 days, I want to die. 15 doesn't quite seem long enough.
That's a good question. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer.
Yeah.
I do know the statistics show that 21 days is the
Is that like the sweet spot? Okay, all right. I'm going to do 21. I'm going to do it right. And I am going to try to actually self-promote during the Kickstarter, which is what makes me want to die. But I'm going to
Well,
send
you
emails and I'm going to do extra podcast episodes. Oh, speaking of which, may I please, and I'll only get you for 15 minutes. I would like to book people to talk to me for 15 minutes on little special podcast episodes about a time they came unstuck.
Yes.
Thank you. That'd be great.
Okay.
I'll grab just a little tiny sliver of your time, and
yes, of course, always.
Okay.
If you pre-write a bunch of the Kickstarter stuff, you could almost schedule it, and then you won't feel like you're having to do self-promotion.
Why is that so obvious? Because then I don't show up. I don't have to like,
exactly,
because it takes so much energy. It takes that starting energy. Please, you're so.
And you could even have Ed be on standby to reply to some comments and things.
Yeah.
You could even get him to schedule Instagram posts or wherever you do your normal promo. Yeah. You can schedule posts in Slack, for goodness sake. You can schedule posts everywhere now.
I know. I do love that. I do use the Slack one quite a bit.
Yeah. So you could even schedule one or two in Patreon.
Oh, you can schedule in Patreon too. Don't you love everybody that she's saying schedule and I'm saying schedule?
Yeah.
I love it.
You can pre-write everything.
That is very good. Okay, maybe that's what I'm going to spend my first not teaching time doing. And then after the not teaching time, then what the hell am I doing? I know what I'm doing. I've just forgotten. I have a list of I made all the projects into priority list. I'm going to pick the next one on the list and go hard on that.
Excellent.
What about
I have deja vu. I have deja vu. I feel like we've said that you've said that exact same thing to me before. What am I doing? So outlining, and then basically from next week I am writing. So I've moved around. So my original plan was to write 3 books before New Zealand. Now I'm writing 2 books and a novella. The novella that's the Christmas release thing that I've told you about.
Yes.
And then
I like how your wink actually almost rhymes with wank. When you just
not relevant at all. And then so the third book that I was going to write is going to be the first book after the summer. But basically I have to be extremely disciplined. If I can be super disciplined between now and sort of the end of June, I should still be able to make what I wanted to do this year. If I can't be super disciplined, then I probably will end up having to drop a book, and then so be it. I would like to still do all of the things that I wanted to do, but life.
The thing I talk about with my students most of all is the fact that every single writer doesn't quite do exactly what they wanted to do. And we have to readjust all the time. And it is the people who don't readjust who stop writing and never continue. And the people who readjust are the winners, the ones with the high competition, the winners, the conquerors.
Yeah. And I'm still going to do the work. I'm still going to get those books written. It's just not going to happen exactly when I thought it was. Well, I mean, it might still. I'm hoping it still will. Especially because, so the one thing I want to be accountable for, I need to read more because I am a little bit behind on my Goodreads challenge, which is usually a sign that I'm not giving myself enough rest and not enough input.
What a great way to track that. You're not really tracking books, you're tracking input and rest, which I think is the exact reason I use it, but I'd never verbalized that. Yeah,
I'm tracking energy.
Yeah.
It's energy management for me because reading is the highest form of energy creation for me.
Me too.
When I'm reading for me, and I've been doing a lot of reading for either others or for classes or for specific things. And I've gotten to this really dangerous point where reading's starting to feel like a chore, which is extremely dangerous for me because I don't have many energy generating activities that I can do, because a lot of my forms of rest are active rest, like going for walks or going to the gym. All great forms of rest, but don't rest my body physically and don't rest my brain. So when I get to the point that I'm not reading or I'm not on track with my Goodreads goal, because I know that that particular number is about what I need just to write, you know.
Yes,
and then
yes.
This year I want to write more, which means I need to be reading more, and I'm barely scraping my current goal, let alone a higher one. So the thing I want to be accountable for by the time I see you next is to have not only read more, but to have read things that I'm choosing to read. And I'm going to be even more specific than that. I need to make this a competition generating thing, I think, because obviously, number one strength, you have to feed that one the most, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
mine is
I'm
input,
going.
luckily. So reading feeds the number one. I
Any
don't want
reading for
no
you? You're so lucky.
intellection. I want to think about it
Yeah.
and I want to read it. Yeah, yeah, it's easy.
Yeah.
It's less tiring than yours.
Yeah. 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 I want to read best-selling smut. That's what I'm going to read.
Oh, what a hard
I know
life you
it's
have.
such a hard life that I have. Oh my God, go.
Best-selling
If it's
smut. That's
fantasy,
fantastic.
even if it's
Yeah.
fantasy romance, even better.
No, wait, I
Yeah.
have to query you on this. Best-selling. Sometimes I've done this in terms of market research, and then I end up hating life also because it feels like a chore because I don't actually like what is best-selling. Will you
then
allow
I'll bin it.
yourself to stop? Okay, great,
Yeah.
great, great. So
Yeah.
you're going to
Yeah.
read best-selling smut that you love.
Yes.
Great.
Yes. Especially because so I have a few key authors, and I've read a lot of some authors, and I've realized I don't know if I've outgrown some of those authors who will remain nameless, or if I've just read too much of them. But I'm one of these that needs new and different all of the time.
Mhm.
So I have to find some new and different because I'm like shriveling. My creativity is shriveling. I need constant new input forms. So yeah, that's what I'm going to be accountable for. Oh God, and now I actually have to do it.
Now you have to do it. I'm so
Now I have to
excited
do it.
about New Zealand coming up because you're coming here for RWNZ and it's going to be so fun.
And we have been planning, and oh my God, it's going to be the best adventure ever. I'm so excited. We've just got this growing list, and I'm going to give it all to a travel agent, and they're going to plan it for me.
Yes. Yes.
I'm not going to have anything to do with it.
Exactly. And you will not be able to do anything while you're traveling and seeing New Zealand. It's going to be the ultimate. You'll be able to read at night, but otherwise you won't be able to work because you're going to be having so much fun.
It's very appealing and deeply terrifying.
Ah, good.
Yeah. I'm pretty nervous about that.
I love this. Well, this has been a delightful chat, my friend. Anything else you want to fit in before we end?
Do you have a date for your Kickstarter launch?
Oh, Lord. I technically was going to do somewhere in the first week of April and now till the third week of April. So let's call it April 5, which gives me 8 days.
Okay, so
April
it
5
could
to
be
26.
it could be out by the time. So when this goes live on the 1st of April for patrons and on the 1st of
No,
May.
you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to launch it on the 1st.
Oh!
I'll fix the button down thing and we'll launch it on the 1st. So by the time this goes live, patrons, if you wanted to come over to rachelherron.com/unstuck, that will be the Kickstarter. And I would love your support in any way, shape, or form. So, okay.
Oh,
thanks.
I'm so excited for you.
Thanks, Sasha. So by the time we talk next, I will know.
Be done.
Yeah, I'm only going to do a goal of 2,000 because I am not writing sexy fantasy smut that has gorgeous foil covering. I'm writing middle-aged recreation myth, which is very different. So we'll see. But it's practice. It's practice. So, all right, my darling. Happy writing.
Happy writing.
That's it for this time, but join us next month with another episode of The Black Heron. Don't forget to tune in and subscribe on your podcatcher. And when you have a moment, please leave a review.